Hello, everyone, I'm White Bear. And today I'm bringing you an unboxing review of the long-previewed Mangmi AirX Android Handheld. Mangmi AirX Android Handheld Unboxing Review. This handheld was just released on July 9th. I didn't get my hands on it before the release, but I was lucky enough to get my hands on it. I didn't get my hands on the machine before it went on sale, but I was lucky enough to grab it on the day it went on sale. I was lucky enough to grab one on the day it went on sale. The vendor also advertised it at a high-profile price of $499 for its debut. Most gamers thought it was really at $499. An entry-level price butcher has emerged to redefine this handheld scene. But the manufacturer's operation may be more or less a little confusing operation. I didn't realize that the early bird price of $499 was a limited edition instead of a limited time. Of course, I didn't get it at $499 either. In addition to the opening of the sale of this accidental incident, this is the manufacturer's favorable activities almost turned into a first accident. I think this is not as good as. This RP and Odin vendors come straight from the pack, simply to do an early foot pre-sale. Players also buy more. I also believe that if the manufacturers really give up this $50 of profit, sales might double and can collect a large wave of positive reviews. Okay, I've got it. The above is also in the official fan group. The above is also the official fan group of many players. Let's actually take a look at this. Snapdragon 622 powered Android handheld is really the perfect starter handheld. Now let's take it out of the box. As with the previous action-packed handhelds we've tested, in addition to the main unit, the vendor has also provided a storage bag. This bag is, generally speaking, the texture is still very good. The logo of Mangmi is printed on it. It is not printed. It's a rubberized material glued on. And the bag itself is quite sturdy. It's customized to match the appearance of the handheld. It's also a customized design. Open the inside. There is a velvet cloth inside. It prevents unnecessary scratches in the process of storage. I think this point is very well done. I hope that in the future these manufacturers will roll it up. Inside, there is also a 128G card. This is because I bought the configuration is included 128G. We can also look at this card. Unlike Joe's black card, this blind rice are printed with a little orange color. Let's look at the body of the machine. The appearance of the packaging is still very simple. The front of the body is printed with the logo of the laser blind rice. On the back is the specific model number. I got a black one. I was going to get the vintage gray. But the truth is, during the rush, you can take whatever's available. I didn't have a choice. Let's take a look inside the box. The box is still quite tight. Open the package. The instruction card. The official is very thoughtful to give a dry film. This is very good. That's a bag. This should be the body of the machine. Let's take it out and have a look. There's an A2C cable underneath. Okay, that's it. There should be nothing else. Let's take a look at the machine itself. It's a solid black. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's now take a quick look at the appearance of the machine and hardware parameters. What about the exterior? I bought this one in black. And the whole body? It has a frosted finish. It feels very good to the touch. It's less prone to fingerprints. It's easy to wipe. But the disadvantage of this material is the buttons are prone to oiling. What about the key area? Dual rocker. And the ABX wire made like this. Translucent treatment. It's like a color clash with the basic look. It's a nice touch. The joystick is a Hall joystick. It supports 360 degrees in 5 or 4 angles. The overall button formation is moderate. Feedback is also relatively crisp. Let's talk about the hardware parameters. CPU. Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 octa-core processor is used. Memory and storage. It has 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage. But at the same time, the machine itself supports TF card expansion. Which means that when you integrate this Pegasus game pack, there should be a lot of games. Screen parameters. The use of 5.5 inches of IPS LCD screen. Resolution. 1080p in 60 Hz refresh rate. Brightness. It's 450 nits. I think that's enough brightness for me. The battery and the details. Is this 4000 mAh lithium battery? Tested. Probably fully charged to play this PSP game. Something like 5 hours or so. Some of the lighter Android games can reach 5 to 6 hours. The machine itself. It supports a 10-watt charge. Is this considered fast charging? I can't say. It's about 2 hours. It can be fully charged. And at the same time? This everyone can see. There is a LGB underneath. This rocker light. This ambient light. In fact, you can adjust the color. I think this is quite interesting. You can adjust the color you like. At the same time, this machine uses an active cooling method. It's an active cooling method. That is, on the back there is a fan on the back that can be adjusted for multiple machines. So, like I'm setting up an equalization mode. You can manually adjust it to the extreme mode. You can also listen to the noise. The volume control is quite good. With the extreme fan on to dissipate the heat. For playing PSP with multiple resolutions, the heat control is still quite good. Okay, that's all. Let's get right to the game. I think every open source handheld can't avoid this one enemy. PSP's God of War. Almost this game has become an open source handheld performance. It's an upper level of performance. I can show you my settings here. I set it to double the resolution of the PSP. Then turn on an automatic needle jumping. The actual gaming experience should be able to reach 60 frames per second. Let's go ahead and read one of my previous archives. Let's take a look at the following battle sequence. There's a slight needle drop here. It's the easiest part of the game to lose a needle. It's at the beginning. Through the hull of the rainwater spilled into the part of the section. But I don't think that's objective, because I also see other uploaders in the review process. They also set a point of view. You can't say that the game is smooth. We can't say that the game can be played smoothly in the whole game. But in fact, in the subsequent scenes, there will still be some lag phenomenon. So in this test, I have specially played a section to see how it works in the later scenes. Generally speaking, it's fine here. Just when you slide down from the lock, there is a slight drop in frame rate. Here we can also see. I see a line about the official performance. So basically, the frame rate of the PSP software. The fan is currently turned on. The heat of the machine is not bad. It's mainly concentrated in the upper left corner. Okay, that's it for the God of War. Overall, the frame rate of the God of War is still relatively stable. At twice the resolution. It's still heating up nicely. Let's move on to other games. After measuring the PSP's God of War, let's take a look at the 3DS emulator. Before talking about the 3DS, I'd like to say a few words about the official game launcher. This game launcher is actually very similar to Pegasus's front end. Originally, before doing the test, I wanted to install a Pegasus front end, but because I didn't download it in advance. But I'm still in a hurry to make a video for you. So it's also baked in the resource package first. But the front end still recognizes Pegasus integration package, the game's room, and the configuration files are all working. But it's a pity that PSP and 3DS are not included. Although the front end of the game can directly read the TF cards, configuration files from the TF card, but the 3DS and PSP don't. So I had to launch a separate this emulator for 3DS and PSP. There's another problem. The emulator for the 3DS. It doesn't have a way to specify the path to the PF card. So it took me a long time. I ended up copying the game. I copied the game directly to a body of this machine's memory. It may be possible to follow up with some firmware updates. Through some firmware updates and optimization to solve this problem. I also told the official customer service feedback. But I don't know. Is it because I haven't figured it out myself? Or this function? There are some problems. Let's take a look at Super Mario 3D. I'm still experiencing a slight. But this is not necessarily due to the game's performance. It could be caused by the emulator. I'm using double the resolution here. I also played a little bit before. We can see the frame rate of the emulator itself and the official performance monitoring. In this kind of level, the scene is not complicated or relatively simple. But there was a slight lag just now. Let's get a closer look. It's these two diagrams switching. During the switching process, there is a little bit of lag. But I think it's okay. Can play. After all, how to say? It's an entry-level handheld. You can't expect too much from it. You can't expect too much from it. And here's a demo for you. This is the support. But I don't know why the top and bottom are upside down. I think it's possible to set this emulator for 3DS. I really do not understand it very well. It's a bit hard to play at the moment. The first few levels. I think it's also in the process of switching scenes. I think it's the cache loading that's causing the lag. Like here or this scene just switched. We also see that it's still relatively smooth. I'll try to give you the length of the test. In fact, I personally value. It's the 3DS emulation for Android handhelds. After all, the price of 3DS has gone up so much. Although I can't experience the effect of dual screen. But the game is still the same. Super Mario, we see this. Let's take a look at the real enemy. Zelda Substantial Enemy. I also ran this one first. There may be a little bit of lag in the animation, but the actual experience of the game scene is still okay. Although I'm still playing at the beginning. I'm still in the newbie village. Here I also give you a run in the village. Take a look. You can pay attention to this frame rate. Actually, there's a slight difference here. The software in the upper left corner shows an FPS of, but the official one is 58. This is still occasional lag. There's still a little bit of lag in the village. Including us can also see here. There's still a little bit of frame loss. We have to go to the old tree. So far we have not seen. Substantial first version of this. I still have not played for the time being. Take some time to play it. Should also be a very classic. The first generation of Zelda. The speed of the scene change is also good. So this game should be playable. It should be playable. Let's look at another 2D game. The combination of Isaac and Rebirth. I've tested this game. This should be able to run this full 60. After all, it's just a 2D game. And for this kind of Meet Brother class design class, should count. It's better to have a higher frame rate. It's more enjoyable to play. This can be seen around 60 frames. As for the handling of the secondary screen, I don't know which angle. I don't know which angle would be better. I'm going straight into the boss room? It's just a test for everyone. So I didn't care if the room was finished or not. At least it looks like. There's no frame rate drop. Or rather, the frame rate is stabilized at. This 2D game is simple or. It's good. It's good. It's good. Then let's talk about. It officially comes with this launcher. I've talked about it before. Just didn't integrate the PSP with this 3DS. But NDS, PS1. These are still integrated. But then. This front end actually I think it's pretty good. But compared to. But Tianma this inside these configuration files. As you can see. I'm using Tianma's room here. It's all working. But it's the one that came from the factory. It doesn't work at first. Although I can read the game. But I couldn't connect it to the emulator when I started it. I updated the NDS emulator. NDS emulator. I reinstalled a new one. It works fine. Here's a test for you. No extra settings for this screen. The frame rate should be fine. Of course, I didn't put the Pegasus integration pack into this one. So I didn't do any masking. It's still a bit hard to see. Another thing is, in fact, this Kia, as you can see, feel still need to adapt to get used to it. In fact, the official is also very thoughtful. This side to set SA. You see we can switch here. Then it becomes the Xbox layout. In addition, the ambient light can be turned off by yourself. As I showed you before. You can adjust the color. I still like to turn it off when I'm playing. I think this is still a very good job. Here we can directly see. See, this includes a layout adjustment for the buttons, setting up the joystick, as well as some shortcuts like taking screenshots, recording and clearing the memory, and some other shortcuts. I think this is still the sidebar. This is still very convenient. NDS should not be under any pressure. And the display effect is not bad. I used the default resolution here. I still need to reduce this big gold coin. Although the NDS should not have any problems. PSP is not much of a problem. This front end we also see here. Next, let's take a look at the streaming effect. After all, this is one of the main ways to play this entry-level Android console. Streaming. I'm using the Sunshine and Moonlight streaming program. I've tested it before. In addition to the network, its decoding time is locked at 10 to 11 milliseconds on average. In fact, I personally feel that the difference is still not too big. I've also used hard solutions like this one with Snapdragon 8 Elite. This one, it decodes in about 4 milliseconds. Here we have a okay after a while of waiting. We are still. Suddenly the code rate shown here is too low. The vibration feedback is still rather sparse. I think it's better than nothing. It's still within the acceptable range. Why is it suddenly stuck? Please lower the bit rate. Maybe I set the bit rate too high? It's lagging again. It's because I've set the frame rate of the game. The frame rate is set too high. Maybe the decoding time is too high. I can't handle the decoding time. Let's take a look at my original settings. The average decoding time is 3 milliseconds. I don't think it's so bad that it flipped. I did flip my car in this game. Let's adjust the frame rate. Let's get the frame rate up to 60. This requires a restart of the game. Okay, we're restarting the game now. See if it works better. We'll take the game's frame rate, the frame rate of this computer, and set it a little bit lower. And see if it still says, because the frame rate is too high. Please lower the bit rate. Could it be my settings? Let's take a look. This bit rate is the default. Let's go straight to 10. Double it. It's still not working. After lowering the bit rate, it's still a problem. Let's try one. Let's go back to. We're back to the 20 we started with. Let's test a 2D game. A small game very similar to Contra. When you play it usually, this upper left corner of this streaming performance data. Still do not need to open AW. It's too much of an obstruction of vision. After all, this screen is only so big. Here we should switch the button layout. Yes. It's much more comfortable. This is weird. It's not supposed to be a network problem. When I was playing on my own. Maybe it's because I wasn't streaming for long. Or maybe it's because I'm sitting right next to the computer. That's why the bitrate was too high. It's true that I still haven't encountered this situation before the demo. Is it possible that my background? I didn't clear the background. I'd better clean it up here. There's nothing on. I think it's a software problem. After re-entering the program, there's no sound. Okay, streaming is just like that. I don't think the streaming experience is very good. I've read reviews from other users. The streaming performance is still good. Is it possible that it's because of my settings? Or my home network? Or my home network is the cause of this poor streaming? It's also very possible. It's still. We can't generalize here. This is just a negative demonstration for you. Okay. Next, let's give you a test. Native of this Android game. Here. It's a 2D scrolling Inner Souls action game. It's called God's Crab Poison. The first part of the animation is quite long. I think I remember it from the very beginning. In fact, this kind of horizontal Inner Souls game. I think the most recent classic is Speech Haven. This is the second installment. It's really difficult. Directly up to cut a snowpack. Maybe I'll take a look here. Button layout. Let's cut to the Xbox. Compare the feel of the game. It's still a great feeling. It's a little bit of a beginner's guide. So here Y is on top by default. This directly open a white to the boss. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said he gave it to him for nothing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that he gave it to me for nothing. Resurrection is also a part of the newbie instruction. This setting is similar to that. This is the backboard. The 2D game is still pretty smooth. This Android should be no problem. Of course, Android games, I think we should try our best, can run the original God. But I think some complex scenes may still not be able to run full truth. Okay, let's wrap it up. In fact, this handheld, I think it still meets my expectations. As an entry-level Android handheld phone, it's best suited for games. The best options are PSP and 3DS, and NDS emulators. Android compatibility is still relatively good. Overall, the operation is relatively smooth, especially in the current retro. Most of the retro game handhelds, with the price of most retro handhelds, I think using this one as a replacement for the PSP, I think it's a very good choice. But I don't know if there will be any official. I don't know if there will be any promotional marketing tactics. I think we can also look forward to it. In fact, at this price point, I think the $599 price point is still a bit too high. I think it's still a little bit too high. It would be better if it could be lowered a little bit more. At the same time, this machine, I think its TF card expansion, can also meet the needs of large capacity games. Pros we've actually been talking about during the review. We've been talking about it's cost-effective, the high resolution of its screen, and its Android platform, compatibility with multiple emulators and so on, and its performance is not bad, etc. Of course, the disadvantages. I think it's necessary to say a few words. First of all, this screen, with a refresh rate of 60 Hz, in some dynamic scenes, it's still not enough. And subjectively, my personal subjective feeling, its screen is still on the warm side. Of course, in addition to this color calibration, the most difficult thing for me is staring at this screen for a long time. There will be a tendency to develop this visual fatigue. It could also be because I often use some high refresh rate. This cell phone screen, suddenly using a screen with a lower refresh rate. A lower refresh rate screen. It may be a bit uncomfortable. Another thing, the front end is still, although it can recognize, for this Pegasus configuration file for this piece. But if you want to play this PSP and 3DS you still have to do it yourself. A Pegasus front end, more suitable. And that is, I do not know why. The current version of the emulator. There is no way to set the path to the TF card. You can only copy the game into this machine in order to play. Otherwise, you have to rely on this front-end guide for lesser players. For those who are not good with their hands, I think it's still a nostalgic handheld. Tinkering is also one of the fun. Depends on how you look at it. What's more, fast charging efficiency. In fact, I think 10W is not bad. Of course, if you have to compare other fast charging, it's true that its waiting time is